Welcome to the Good Ride. We're pouring for snowboard gear.
Mercury 157, 7. Did lots of wipes.
Gentle readers, kind readers of the Good Ride. This is the review of the Capita Mercury 157. And we rode it today with the new Union Atlas, my Adidas Tactical ADVs, Grant's Burton SLXs, and we compared it against the Black Snowboard of Death, and, hang on, I forgot, the Jones Mountain Twin. Actually, we'll put it right in here next to one another. And this has been a long time all mountain favorite for us because, you know, it's just like what we always say about an all mountain board. It's, you know, kind of like twinish to maybe directional twin. It's very close to being a twin, it feels like. It feels a lot closer to the outer space living than you would think, but it's just got this nice little bump they call death grip here that gives it a little more edge hold than every other board in Capita's line, even the Black Snowboard of Death. And we compared it against the BSOD and the my Jones Ultra Mountain Twin, and I've just watched this board evolve over the years. It's really cool to see what it's been doing. It's a board I'm really familiar with. I've owned a couple different models over the years, and I just really love it. It's that kind of board that you can center, ride switch really well, treat as a mountain freestyle board, and then on powder, you can set it back and get some directional float. And check the on the table review so you can see like the setback on board and the camber profile. Laying down on a flat surface, because that really helps you kind of understand why this is so versatile. But here's the thing, it's like, it just keeps evolving, and whatever Capita's been doing with their, like, just the materials, they just keep improving the flex, they keep improving, it's just like the overall board feel, it just keeps getting a little softer, a little more forgiving, but a little more dynamic, a little more poppy, a little more playful. This used to be so aggressive years past. When it kind of first came out, it had a much stiffer, kind of less forgiving personality. It almost felt like a little more camber. It just feels like everything's just mellowed out, and this board just has this nice, like, great feel for uneven snow. Like, you can kind of hammer through crappy snow, and that was the main difference I felt with like the Ultra Mountain Twin today. You didn't get to ride that,
right?
But man, I couldn't believe the difference. The Ultra Mountain Twin feels much stiffer, more damp, but like a little less forgiving in that uneven snow, where this felt much more forgiving and playful. Little easier to butter, and probably like a lot of people really talk about these two boards kind of being, you know, really kind of being like always on their list when you're looking for a board, one board to do everything. Like the Mountain Twin and the Mercury are probably, like, you know, two that people are always emailing me, so I really wanted to compare them. And I think a better comparison would be the Jones Mountain Twin. It feels a little more mellow, a little more easy, a little more playful. The Ultra Mountain Twin's a great board, but it feels like just a touch almost too stiff when you compare the two. And we had like kind of uneven snow today, kind of messy. You'll see in the footage, kind of messy groomers. And this thing just shined. It just came alive, and it has enough grip. The Jones wins in the grip category though. It wins in the speed category. And I think you can set it back a little bit more on board than you can, but they have a very similar camber profile now. This year, the Mercury that I have doesn't really have a big bow. It has just kind of like a mellow camber, a little past the bindings, just a touch past the bindings going to early rise, and so does that. And so they're really close though, in terms of camber profile, but you know, so that just wins out on speed, edge hold, a little bit better float and powder. This wins on butterability, on uneven snow, and I think this is just a little more poppy, a little more playful. Of the two right now, and in the conditions that we rode, I like this better, a lot better. Now, comparing it to the black Snowboard of Death, that's, again, it just takes it up. They're very similar in flex. I think the Snowboard of Death this year is like a 6.5 out of 7. I mean, a 6.5 out of 10, and this is a 7. They felt almost the same.
I thought they felt the same.
Yeah, they feel like pretty much the same, but
that's stiffer off the tail for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's because of that
flat.
The flat. Yeah. So this is just a little more directional take on the Mercury. So if you're really not planning to ride switch much, and you like a little slightly more aggressive feel, a little more pop off the tail, a little more drive. I felt this to be a little more drivey in the turns.
Yep.
And like you can see, it's like, this is kind of like that mellow transition. This just has that sharp, you know, and even though you're kind of more on the camber down here, because this is all rocker, I just felt like this is the daily driver playful board for me. This is more of a daily driver if you're mostly directional, but you want a double under foot feel. You drive more off the front foot too, but you like to set it back and you want more directional float and more pop off the tail. Then you've got the black Snowboard of Death. This has better edge hold though.
Way better edge hold.
Yeah, like Capita boards are kind of like, they remind me of like K2 and Burton. Like they just kind of like, and Ride too. And like a lot of other companies that just kind of have like a really mellow side cut, like in terms of bite. It just doesn't want to grab. Like I basically only like to ride like the black Snowboard of Death in good snow, and you know, good to like medium to soft snow. Going out in firm snow, I'd rather be on this. And this has much more grip than almost every other Capita board I've ever tried. Just out of the factory, you know, and it's just because of that little death grip in the middle. It really helps improve the ride. I used to be on the black Snowboard of Death, but it's not anymore. And so I would say it's still not like comparing it to the Jones Mountain, Ultra Mountain Twin, or boards with a little more disruption in the side cut going on, or just harder side cuts. It's not quite the grip champ, but it's kind of up there with like the loaded Algernon and the Oz Custom Woody in terms of grip. It's like good enough in hard snow, but not amazing. And then if you're riding more hard snow, you probably want like a Jones Mountain Twin or an Ultra Mountain Twin. But I mean, all in all, nice base. It just does everything well, you know. It's really fun for a mountain freestyle board, and then it can set back and get you some directional float and powder. It butters really well off the tip and tail. It's not perfect. The Outer Space Living does a little bit better, but it's still really good. What'd you think, Grant? You've been wanting to ride this for a while.
Really enjoyed this board. Haven't ridden in a couple years. Yeah, it's a great, like you said, great all-arounder. Never ridden it set back, but I'd like to do that if the conditions allowed. Yeah, I thought the edge hold on this was great, especially compared to the BSOD. Really aesthetically, really like this, not having a kick in the nose and tail. It's kind of lower profile. It's got plenty of, I mean, this is probably would be the best size for me, would be the 57 for my weight and specs, which you can see below. But yeah, I'd like to spend more time on this board.
Yeah, and its turn initiation is quick for how wide it is. The death grip makes the waist width seem a little wider, make the board seem a little wider than it actually is, because it's right in the middle of the board. But it still kind of runs a little bit closer to the mid-wide side. It's like more like this 57 is more like a size 10 friendly than a 9 friendly, like my boots, or an Adidas 8.5. And you're an 11. And
Right.
did you notice much toe heel drag?
No, not at all. I thought it was, I was probably maxing it out. But,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would ride this width and be fine with it.
Yeah, like I would think like this board's size and its flex for a 57 is perfect for your weight
Yeah.
and your height, but your boot size, I'd probably want you like more on like a 59.
Yeah.
Or you know what you would love is like the warp speed. It's
That
like
one
kind
is
of an
wider.
in-betweener between the black Snowboard of Death and this, but in a wide.
How's the flex on that?
It's kind of like these.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Cool.
I even had a blast on that warp speed. That would be an ideal fit, like a warp speed 157 would be an ideal fit for you, but you'd be sacrificing a little bit of edge hold. 'cause
Yeah,
you don't
I
have
do
that
like
death
the
grip.
death grip.
Yeah, but you might be able to fit into a 59 and make it work as long as your boots are really reduced in footprint.
Right.
Like if you got on Adidas 10.5s,
Yeah.
you know, which fits your feet like
They do.
Burton 11s, that would get you down into a 59 and maybe even a 57 if you want to really do some nipple scratching carves.
Right. And what's the waist width on this? Like 255 maybe?
I think it's like somewhere like that,
254.
256 or
Okay.
something like that. But you
Yeah.
have to factor it down with
Exactly,
the death grip.
yeah.
There's a little, take it down just a little bit. But yeah, the turn initiation isn't super fast. I felt like the Jones Mountain Twin and this are pretty close in terms of the Ultra Mountain Twin and the Mercury were pretty close in terms of edge-to-edge transitioning. This might be just a touch faster, but man, what a fun board.
Yeah.
Poppy, playful, buttery. It's just been a favorite for many a year, and I just love how the flex of this board just has evolved over the last like 4 years. Like the Mercury that I owned 4 or 5 years ago is nothing like, I mean, same shape, same camber profile, same everything, but just the flex and the personality underfoot has changed so much, and it makes it a very recommendable board. So there you have a very long-winded review of the Mercury from the Good Ride.